Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome to Pep Talks in the Morning. It is Monday, the 18th of May. My name is Felicia Holder, Chairman of the Progressive Empowerment Party and your host of this morning's and every morning's program. Joining me this morning for the weekend wrap-up is Mr. Anthony Defoe, Deputy Political Leader of the Progressive Empowerment Party. Good morning, Anthony.
Good morning, Felicia, and happy birthday to you. Good morning, Michelle.
Good
Yes, Trinidad,
morning.
it's
Good morning. Yes.
Sophia's birthday.
Yes, and
Must be
Michelle
my
Davis, Deputy Party Organizer of the Progressive Empowerment Party. Good morning to you, Michelle.
Good morning, Felicia. I have your virtual present here for you. Happy birthday. Happy
Oh,
birthday. Happy
yay!
birthday.
Well, I
Morning,
didn't get to
Trinidad
say
and
it for the
Tobago.
this is a very special episode of Pep Talks in the Morning for me because yes, it is my birthday and I'm so excited. I mean, celebrating it under COVID-19, but I've been looking forward to this particular show for a long while because I have to stamp this episode in history. It will always commemorate my 32nd. Yeah, I'm 32 years old today. My 32nd birthday. I started it off with Pep Talks in the Morning with Anthony, with Michelle, and of course, you, the audience, the viewing public, wherever you're watching from in the world. Thank you for joining me on this special birthday episode. But on top of today being my birthday, we also have some very, very exciting things to discuss as part of the weekend wrap up because boy, oh boy, I swear, Michelle and Anthony, all of the exciting stuff tends to happen over the weekend. You ever notice that?
Yes.
that is when the bubble does take place.
Listen, it's like show it everything. All cards on the table come weekend. But here on Pep Talks in the Morning, we take special notice. We have one of our investigative journalists and all the fast people sending us news because we don't let anything pass us because best believe if it is a hot button topic, we will be discussing it here on Pep Talks in the Morning. And I invite you at this time to please hit share, like on your newsfeed, on your timelines, in your groups, to your friends on Facebook and WhatsApp, because we are having a really juicy discussion this morning. So we're starting off the discussion with the breaking news of yesterday. I mean, I didn't think the weekend could have gotten any more exciting. And then this news came. Public Utilities Minister Robert Leigh Hunt resigns. Also, the Vice Chairman of the Road to Recovery Committee, that 22 team committee that is supposedly responsible for mapping out the recovery of Trinidad and Tobago, the economic and, well, I guess restarting the economy and ways to diversify, all of which I've heard nothing in terms of diversification, but he's also the vice chairman of this committee and he has resigned as Public Utilities Minister and vice chairman of this committee. Boy, oh boy, juicy, juicy, juicy stuff. Michelle, Tony, what y'all think about this?
Tony, you
Michelle,
take
take
it
it.
first. Take it.
Everybody,
Go ahead,
now
Well,
Michelle. Go
everybody's
ahead. Go
like,
ahead.
what's up?
my first thought was, remember that soap opera, As the World Turns? Well, I said, as the government turns. We see another episode of our government just spinning out of control. That was my first thought. My first thought was the soap opera continues on the never ending saga of a government that is failing to govern properly, to take the citizens into consideration. And now it appears as though everything is falling apart before our eyes. And it's something that the public needs to be aware of. They say if your house is not in order, check yourself, right? How are they going to govern us when the internal house is falling apart? So that was my first thought to the LaHunt resignation. The cards are falling apart.
Hmm.
It definitely
Well,
seems like that. I mean, Tony, your thoughts?
my thoughts on that is, as Michelle said, yes, there was a thought in mind where certain things are actually being shooken up within the PNM. As to the cards actually falling apart, I personally believe it's a systematic purge that the PNM is actually having no other choice than to do right now, simply because there are some lines that lead to problems for them in the future, especially being an election year. So the entities that they have within the PNM, they must, at least that would have a negative effect where the party is concerned, especially in an election year. My personal thoughts is that PNM is purging their party right now of those liabilities of that level of risk. Because at the end of the day, they still want to try to win the election and they still want to try to retain certain seats. So the point is that they can't have as much controversy in the public space, for the population to hear of the party and members of the party. Again, you're going to see more heads roll. I strongly believe there are going to be a few other resignations or people even being fired for that matter. It's no other direction PNM has to take at this point in time in order to save face in any type of way, because they know for a fact we, as the Progressive Empowerment Party and even the UNC, we will use the proof that we have pertaining towards the incompetence of a lot of the people holding portfolios within the PNM. And I think that would do a lot of damage for them. So at this stage, I think they are making an actual move of purging the party and trying to have a clean slate as possible, moving the party forward in an election year. That's my personal thoughts.
Anthony,
My
what my,
question,
my thought is with the
me,
LaHunt
Michelle, we
resignation,
have the same thought.
is he distancing himself from the madness, or are they purging him? Is he did there's two different things going on here. Is he
Yep.
Yeah.
distancing himself from the nonsense taking place within the party? Or as we've seen previous releases, which I think we're going to discuss, they are purging themselves, distancing themselves as a party from candidates and former MPs that are current MPs that have not performed. There are two dynamics going on there. They are purging and
Hmm.
correct, but in reality, LaHunt is not too much known with too much controversy. So has he taken the step and say, you know what, because it says his reason for resignation is he is in not agreement of the current policies. So that means there is an internal conflict of some type internal conflict in terms of what to agree on and what to support.
Michelle,
Good
very
point.
well said. Because I mean, when Anthony mentioned that they're purging the purging their government, I think if they were about to do that, there would be nobody left. I mean, who who's that MP that nobody talks about? She might be the only Nicole Oliver. She might be the only person who remains. I mean, if I had to purge the PNM government tomorrow, we'd have to we'd have to call for a new government because there would literally be nobody left. And last week we asked the question, should Stuart Young be fired? I didn't realize that us calling for that would have resulted in like Hunt's removal. We also hearing that Maxi Coffee is not running again, and someone made the joke that they were hoping to get at least another 10 years. I think it was Devon Mirage. They were hoping to get at least another 10 years out of him after we paid so much money on his medical bills. But Maxi Coffee is not running again. Daryl Smith is not running again, and some other unknown lady is not running again. And you're saying, Anthony, that they might be purging house. I'm actually inclined to think that some of these people are purposefully distancing himself. I think Robert Lehundo, that one was a shocker. It came out of nowhere. The fact that he's stating that he's having policy disagreements with the prime minister, with the COVID recovery team, it's very telling because for that to happen in an election year, being fired is one thing. Submitting your resignation is another thing. And I'm not sure if he took
That
front.
that is
Yeah,
it
I'm
there,
not sure if he
Felicia.
took front on something that was coming, but he definitely made a move that I think threw a lot of people off yesterday. And
But I'll tell you this, Felicia. You have to remember too,
I
Lee
seem to
Hunt.
have been
What's going on there?
I seem to be frozen. I hope I'm
All
not.
right.
So if you
Yeah, you're
guys, am I frozen? I was, yes.
No.
no.
Yeah, so I was saying that that move came out of nowhere. It threw a lot of people off. I'm also reading in the papers this morning that it's rumored, and there's a little hint of truth to every rumor, well, sometimes. It's rumored that he also was not pleased with the government's response to the bringing this vice president, Miss Delcy Rodriguez, and her whole delegation to Trinidad and Tobago. I think it's rumored that he was not pleased with what happened and the response by the Prime Minister since and the Minister of National Security since all of this happened. Now, this has been a huge embarrassment and stain on the PNM party. I'm seeing all of these spin doctors trying to come out of the works and spin this, but I don't think there's much damage control that they can do, particularly after that exemption letter came out. And since then, it seems to be like the PNM is unraveling, and this resignation from Leigh Hunt, I think, raises a lot of questions, and some eyes are being thrown on the PNM camp with regards to what is really transpiring. Anthony wants to say something.
I just keep in mind that Lee Hunt basically was in charge of WASA, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Public,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Now, we must also keep in mind that there is and has been in the works something happening where WASA is concerned. There've been talk about WASA being privatized. It may be the same scenario that Petrotrin had to experience. Having to show that they are making a negative versus a positive cash flow, and the state having to pacify that is why they use that reasoning to close Petrotrin. And it seems to me as if it's the same scenario that's possibly taking place where WASA is concerned. Now, remember too, there's a lot of things happening inside WASA that there's plenty questions that need to be answered. And you're talking Lee Hunt, ain't no fool. And if he know for fact certain things taking place inside our WASA, who else are we going to question and ask certain questions? So in my mind is why I said again, for me, I believe that outside of what Lee Hunt is saying about he's not happy about the response by the government and all of that tralala, it could possibly be because that's a very direct blow to the government itself. The same government that you yourself was a partner of and supported. So for you to take a stance like that, you must be anticipating the government of the day or other entities politically is going to take a run on you. You will possibly be in the hot seat having to answer certain questions. And again, we don't know exactly what the agenda of the day is under behind closed doors where WASA is concerned. Maybe the wheels have already started turning as far as the dismemberment of WASA, where now they're going to now sell off pieces and parts. And you know what I mean? Again, the same thing what happened with
Yeah.
Petrotrin. Now, Petrotrin, remember, now that Petrotrin is closed, there's not much that we can actually do in dealing with that AV oil business. And again, all of that, in my mind, I think was a part of the strategy for them to why they had to close
Definitely.
Petrotrin. So this way, they weren't able, or the public was not able to hold them to task to the actual issues that was brought up in the public. And I believe that it possibly can be the same scenario taking place where WASA is concerned. Lee Hunt smelled the rat and realized that he might be one that they go take and had to take a hit for the team. And he's like, no, he ain't want to go down that road. So he put in his resignation already. And at the end of the day, I mean, really, we have to understand that the political game in Trinidad and Tobago is a big, deep, and dark one. What we see on the
Yeah.
surface that the people are consuming as far as what these political entities and bodies and corporate tykes that is controlling the system, the narrative they are putting out there again is a deflection of what the reality is really taking place, because we could say that where Carney was concerned when that entity got closed down, the same thing went on where Petrotrin is concerned, how that got closed down, as well as other industries in Trinidad and Tobago, which has also closed down. And again,
What
WASA is
about
a
those
very
that get
viable
burned
business.
down? What
Excuse
about
me.
those that get burned down? WASA. WASA is the company that has had multiple fires in their records room and stuff like that. This is a country where
Thank you
when
very
things
much.
need to disappear, we either
Hmm.
shut it down or burn it down. That's what happens.
Exactly,
Thank you
but
very
it's
much.
important to note. It's Anthony is hitting it on the head. Last night, when I was reading and doing some research on Lehunt, for those of you that do not know, his background is accounting. He was a senior executive for Royal Bank overseas in Africa. Remember, he's the MP that had to give up the Ghana citizenship
Yeah.
to be sworn in, right? So we need to, Anthony is making a link there. His background is all accounting. So my first question was, what is an accountant running public utilities? What does he have? What experience does he have in that? So Anthony, you are hitting it. I have personal ties, internal ties to WASA that have admitted they're currently 2,500 people overstaffed, right? So there is a lot of financial bubble going on within that that utility that I am sure Lehunt has privilege to, at least on paper, right? So from a financial accounting perspective, he has access to see what is really going on, what records are missing. So
Yeah.
Anthony, you did, because I saw that last night and I wanted to ask that question. Well, how is an accountant running public utilities? Hence the reason he has not been effective as an MP in that regard, because again, we continue to nominate and place persons in fields that they are not expertise. He should be finance if it is a role to be. He should be the Minister of Finance, not the Minister of Public Utilities. Again,
Hmm. Why is a geologist the prime minister? So many questions about who is capable and competent in what field that being appointed in this government right now. And I mean, if you wanted to say it's because he's a good leader, records show no. But back to that Lehan's thing that Anthony just raised there. And when you mentioned the fact that WASA and all of the madness is happening in WASA, yes, not yesterday, last week, inadvertently raised an issue within an issue when he discussed the fact that we can't pay or deferring utilities such as WASA and TNTech cannot happen right now because it is I can't remember, it's unreasonable to do that right now.
right,
But when he raised that, yes, I know, completely local. When he raised that issue, he also went on to say that WASA is currently operating at a deficit of $100 million a month. $2 billion a year. And I ask myself the question, why is WASA operating at such a deficit that the government has to subsidize up to $2
right.
billion a year? Like utter madness. And Michelle, when you just raised the fact that oh gosh, you just said it with relation to
With
like
the
Huns and the
right,
with the
with
sorry?
Lehunt being an accountant, there are 2,500 people overstaffed. There's a lot of
Overstaff, yes.
financial dysfunction. Yeah,
When you raise that, and thinking about it, when you pass anybody on the road in terms of WASA fixing, there's a man who actually fixing the pipe. 10 people around him who watching him fix the pipe, and 20 more people around him who watching the people watching the man actually fixing the pipe. And I always used to wonder, why do we have so many people to fix one little hole? And I watch the progression of the way holes in this country happen. And they start off small, and then they get bigger, and then they get bigger. And then when it's finally a crater in the road, 50 people hover down to fix this one hole. And then we wonder why we're operating at a deficit of $100 million a month. But again, the people responsible, Robert Lee Hunt, the public utilities, well, now ex-public utilities minister, had to have known of all of these problems plaguing WASA. Why wasn't WASA never made to be profitable? Is WASA allowed to be run at such an enormous deficit per month at a cost to the taxpayers? Because it's not the government taking this out of their pocket, it's us. We paying $100 million a month to subsidize a failing company.
And why is
Lee
it that
Hunt, no.
every company fails in Trinidad, Anthony? Why is it that every company fails in Trinidad? We heard it with Petrotrin. They were operating at a deficit. Now we're hearing the same story. We're hearing the same story with TN Tech. Is this deliberate? Is this deliberate that nothing in Trinidad operates at a profitability? I mean, what are these people being paid for? What are they managing if we continue to operate at deficits?
Well, again, I will say this. The handlers of these political entities of both sides of the fence of the UNC and the PNM knows exactly what the agenda is why, again, we continuously say that it's never about the people of Trinidad and Tobago. These political entities and the landscape that we've had for the last 57, 58 years truly have not seeked the interests of the people. Full stop. It has always been about the corporate class and the financiers of these parties and exactly where they would like to have benefit. And in every case, it's not a benefit towards the people, it's always a benefit towards the handlers of these parties. So the point again, why you're going to see all of this shedding taking place in the PNM, it possibly, now again, I don't know for a fact. I'm not in the bowels of the PNM behind closed doors, knowing exactly what is going on. But from looking at the steps and from history as to the movements and actions, because like they say, actions speak louder than words, and they would talk and have all the rhetoric that they want to have over the years after administration, because you have Williams, you have Chambers, you have Manning, you have Rowley now today. The point of the matter is that PNM has had a track record of a doctrine in which they operate and conduct themselves. We know for a fact every major industry was closed under a PNM administration. And
Yes.
when you look at this same political entity talking about development of Trinidad and Tobago and all the wealth that we have and this, that, and the other. And they're trying to chain up the population with sweet talk and rhetoric and, well, they are here for the black man and all of that sort of garbage. The same black man in Trinidad and Tobago is the one who catching the tail the most on the ground. So then now,
Exactly.
you're talking a political entity having political reign, social reign, economic reign within Trinidad and Tobago, having the booms fall under their tenure of being in that parliament and having control of the treasury. And yet still today, 2020, we do not have a developed country that we could be proud, that we could boast to say that we have 600 billion US dollars in our heritage and stabilization fund versus a 6 million that can't even do one blasted thing for anybody. Because look,
Mm.
listen, now, don't get me started here this hour day, because for,
Before you get started, before you get started, un momento, I just need to insist because out of this discussion comes the question of the day. Very interesting question, and I cannot wait to see the answers. But the question of the day for you this morning, and feel free to answer the poll, or you can call in at 9. We're taking calls from 9 o'clock. The question of the day is: do you believe this PNM government is falling apart? And it's a very interesting question because with everything that is happening, I mean, last week we got the news that JW is running for a seat for the PNM, and that was supposed to be the big, rah to interest the public and eclipse everything that is happening. But even with that news, a lot of the things that have been plaguing the PNM, particularly this issue with Stuart Young and the vice president of Venezuela, we're going to talk about that in a little bit. That issue, Maxi Coffee not running anymore, which I think came as a surprise to people. I don't know why. I mean, I met Maxi Coffee very recently, and while he seems to be on the road to recovery, he's clearly not able to do the job that he has to do as an MP. Come on, let's just be real, let's be serious. I can't believe people expected otherwise. Then we also have Mr. Robert Lehan, who is not only the Public Utilities Minister, but also the Vice Chairman of the Road to Recovery Committee, resigning in the midst of what is supposed to be the rollout of Trinidad and Tobago's recovery plan. The reasons why he is resigning, like we are discussing on the program this morning, are reasons that are only speculations at the moment, but it does point to something happening within the PNM. All of these decisions, it's an election year, yes, but the fact that he is resigning spells, and it's probably pointing to some deeper things. So we asked the question to you, the public, this morning: do you think that the this PNM government is falling apart? Please feel free to answer the poll. Call in after 9 with your answers. But moving on to the next topic of Mr. Stuart Young, I see somebody is clearly watching this show because we asked the question on Friday, or was it Thursday? Do you believe that Stuart Young should be fired? And then I saw the front page of the Express
Mhm.
editorial calling for Stuart Young to be fired. I think that was actually a historical moment. The Express literally did it seems like the Express and all, like they having their own internal conflict, because
Yes.
1 minute I'm seeing Express is part of the TV6 Caribbean media, something like that, family. And we had that article come out. Then we also had Miss Asha Javid, a very close personal friend of Stuart Young, publishing some information with regards to there being two clauses that said that Paria Fuel had two clauses in the contract in terms of the sale of the 150,000 barrels of fuel. But back to Stuart
Lie,
Young, I want to talk about
lie.
that. A lie is a lie is a lie is a lie. Maybe that should have been the question today. Do you believe that that document actually exists? Because just like with the exemption letter, publish your proof. Where is the proof? Why wasn't it front page of that article?
Right, and
And
yesterday, if
and
you
in fact,
noticed over the weekend, Express had several conflicts of articles. One was in a calling for his resignation. Another one was pointing out the flaws in what he did, and the failure of what he did as a national minister of national security. Basically, the bottom line drops there. If you admitted, if there's evidence that you failed to secure the national security of the nation, then the bottom line, it drops with you, and you are responsible, and your resignation should be called. You should resign in all honor of that position. And then you had this acquaintance going on and saying that there was paperwork. Will publish it and end the story and end the nightmare of everyone speculating. But if you notice, the speculation is what they use as a tool also for distraction, which we constantly
Yep.
talk about. So you get mixed up in your messages. The public continues to get mixed up in what is being said. 1 minute Express is saying this, another article is saying this, Guardian. So it keeps the public confused as to what is the real issue here.
question: that document, was it signed when the vice president came to Trinidad and Tobago? Any one of her delegates or peoples that was accompanying her, was it their signature was that was on that said document that they talk about? Because if you notice, all the information that they continuously put into the public is always after the fact, you know. It's never
Hmm.
before the fact, where at the beginning of all of this they could have presented this said document and indicate where the documents are concerned, where that in itself would have been able to save the country from embarrassment where the United States is concerned, and the sanctions that they have against Venezuela, where we weren't supposed to actually conduct any type of trade or business with this nation. We had a sanctioned plane with people in that plane that was also under sanction. Really, really, again, the government is simply showing every step of the way the level of gross incompetence that they are presenting towards the public, and they are putting the country at major, serious risk, especially in a time like now, because this COVID 19 is not something that is segregated to us only here in Trinidad and Tobago. It's a global pandemic. Every nation on planet Earth has to make different concessions for their population and for their country in order to operate in this new environment. So now we ourselves must contain and develop the country in a way where we are also can be self-sufficient of sorts. But again, in the next breath, we are talking about misdirection by this administration. There's nothing Nothing that they are bringing to the public that shows that they are talking the truth. And again, like we said just now, actions speaking louder than words. Because Stuart Young come out the first, the initially talking about it was a COVID-19 visit. Then all of a sudden it is a refugee visit. And then now to actually hear the cry that we had trade where we ship energy to this country. And the point of the matter is that why it is we could not know from the get-go that okay, they came here and we were discussing energy that they needed to pacify whatever the situation was and X, Y, and Z. And you put that out in the public, case closed, nothing else again to ask, because that is exactly what was the situation. So if that wasn't the case, it means to say that you purposely was trying to deflect and misdirect the population, misdirect the public, misdirect the US and our partners as to exactly what you were doing, having talks and inviting a sanctioned plane and people from a country that is sanctioned by our biggest trading partner, and most important one, may I add, again, what are we doing? It is gross incompetence. The government is misstepping every step of the way. And we, the people, are the ones that's going to feel the hit, because if the US decide to hit we with sanctions and retail, I saw listen, we will not be in a good place whatsoever economically, especially in a time where we have to redevelop the country and we need our partners from around the world to assist with that, because we need a proper level of trade. But I also saw on social media, I think it was the president of Paria Fuels that had his visa revoked. I'm not sure how true that was. And again, if that is actually the case, and if that is actually true, you are seeing the US now taking direct steps with certain entities on the ground in Trinidad to send a clear message. A clear message. So the point is,
But do you
this
realize?
administration. What's that? Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I was going to say, do you realize that Stuart Young is working overtime to try to spin this narrative? He's trying to spin. I'm listening to him address the cabinet and say that, we have a very strong relationship with the United States and we would never do anything to go against them. And I was reading this article by Selwyn Cujo, and I have to say his commentary is spot
Yes.
on the button. And he asked the question, if you know that we have such a very important relationship with the United States, why would you make such an obvious blunder like what occurred back on March 27? Why would that be? Why? To this day, Michelle, that the reason for that visit. I mean, we all know it wasn't to discuss no any COVID-19 and immigration, anything. Actually, we have Venezuelans saying that they considering leaving Trinidad and Tobago to go back home. That is testament to how
Yes.
terrible things are back here. When your immigrants who came looking for a better life say, "Whoops, oh, we clearly stopped at the wrong place. We're going back home."
Exactly.
But yes,
But I
Anthony.
will tell you this. I will tell you this. If it was about any refugee, when we had them coming here by the hundreds of thousands, why it is that the Venezuelan vice president or a delegate from Venezuela didn't come to Trinidad at that point in time? When the majority and
Mm,
masses of their people was coming into Trinidad illegally as
Ellie.
refugees. Why it is they didn't have that delegation come and deal with the refugee issue that we are dealing with, because that was putting strain on our economy and our systems, where our systems was already broken. So I think it's a no-brainer to know that as a prime minister of Trinidad and Tobago, I would have called them right away. Hey, all your people running over into my country, the community illegal, is all kind of bacchanal going on, and let me know exactly what is the situation, what it is all they could do and assist, and we understand your environment as far as what you're dealing with the US and everything else that's taking place on the ground in Venezuela. But we have to seek our own interests as a nation, a sovereign nation, a nation at that. We are your partner, or neighbor, and again, we are having diplomatic dialogue and trying to have a resolution towards the situation taking place on the ground here. Why didn't that take place last year, 2019 or 2018, when the bulk of
Anthony,
the blasted people was coming to Trinidad?
to
Right.
begin with, the Venezuela has been perpetually in denial that they have any crisis, any refugee crisis going on. If you stick a mic in front of a Venezuelan minister, at least the Maduro administration, not the Guaido administration, which is still fighting to legitimize itself as the new government in Venezuela right now. But if you stick a mic into any of their faces, it's happiness over there. There's no crisis in Venezuela. People are happy. They're not eating out of bins. They're not fleeing the country and going to Guyana and Trinidad and Tobago. So it's very ironic that all of a sudden they are admitting that there is some kind of immigration and refugee crisis, and not just admitting it, but flying to Trinidad and Tobago under special, um, under special, under special exemption rules to discuss the 16,000 people who did not leave Venezuela because Venezuela is a happy place, to come to have a closed door meeting, and not just bring the vice president of the country to discuss that one day after the president had sanctions imposed on him, but bring an entire delegation full of ministers of energy and board members in energy to discuss COVID-19 and
Hey,
immigration.
And exactly, and
Felicia.
As Anthony
This
indicated, well, welfare of the country. And we know from past and present, the current PNM administration does not operate on the benefit of the citizens. So we know that meeting had nothing to do with COVID-19. We know that meeting had nothing to do with the Venezuelan refugees, because both governments continue to be in denial that there really is an issue with the Venezuelans being here. You have brought them here, and now you have basically left them to starve, and say, well, that's no longer a problem. We know, as Philip says, lies, lies, and more lies. And until the public realizes that we are being lied to as a nation, as citizens, and taken for fools, that meeting had nothing to do with what they are saying. But I know for a fact that meeting had something to do, alleged meeting, had something to do to benefit the citizens, benefit themselves, not the citizens of this country. Let's be real. There was a benefit to them, not the citizens. That's why that meeting was held in secrecy. That's why we continue to hear lies several weeks later, because there's something in that red box that was handed over to our prime minister that particularly benefited his administration, not Anthony, Michelle, and Felicia.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I love it there, Michelle. And what I was laughing at so much just now, it's so ironic that the vice president of Venezuela come to Trinidad to talk refugee issues in a time when the refugees in Trinidad leaving Trinidad to go back Venezuela. You have seen the insanity in that. When they was coming to Trinidad, they couldn't come. They couldn't have delegation come here. But it's when Venezuelans catching the backside right here, because the government of the day don't even know the ass from the elbow. Excuse the French. I greatly apologize for that. But the point of the matter is, is that the people leaving the shores of Trinidad, the same refugees going back home, because there's no hope for them here. And there's no use sending delegation to talk refugee status. I mean, again, it just actions speak louder than words. They are taking the population for a bunch of fools. They have just put in all types of rhetoric in the public for we to consume, and just want we to just put that in your pipe and smoke it, and they ask no question. But I tell you, thank God for our Progressive Empowerment Party and our initiatives there. I'm not tooting my own horn, but the point is that
Listen,
there are other scholars and political analysts and so on across the country in Trinidad and Tobago, and it's as if everybody is mute. Nobody is talking. Nobody is putting themselves out there into the public and having their opinion as to how this government is really treating with a life or death situation for our nation. For our nation. Because we truly cannot forecast what Trinidad and Tobago is going to be at the end of the year or for 2021. Because if we have a broken economy where we can't diversify, we can't get ourselves restarted, the country is already in a deficiency right now because the major part of the population has not been working and bringing in money into the system. I mean, it's a complete freeze of everything, and that is going to have repercussions coming down the road. And the point is the steps and the systems we put in place now to safeguard us, if it's not properly put into place, again, is the people holding the shitty end of the stick, because we are the ones that will have issues having jobs, because there will be no jobs available. You have companies right now that's closing down. Look, I think it's Whitco They are supposed to lay off 400 employees. I mean, why you even considering such a thing at this point? You have your dream team of your 21
Yeah.
cast members. You are supposed to
Exactly.
scrutinize everything on the ground in Trinidad and Tobago, every industry, both private and public, and to identify whether these entities are able to actually be a tool for the redevelopment of Trinidad and Tobago. And as a no-brainer. So they are supposed to have a level of dialogue with everyone across the board, not just the corporate types, but they also have to have discussions with the middle size employees and businesses, as well as the small businessman as well, because we have to have a clear plan in how we are moving the nation forward, how we are now being able to insert monies into the system again, where the dollar in Trinidad and Tobago for the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago actually have a level of value that can make better sense in this new environment that we have to operate under. We are not able to depend on anything foreign anymore. We can't even think of what our forex and all of that madness is going to be. We have to seriously consider what can we do to re-establish the TT dollar having a level of worth in your pockets as a Trinidad and Tobago on the ground. That's where
And
we
as
need to
you
be
think of
right
it,
now.
Anthony, the more you think about it, the more crazy it sounds. Because this deal was so small in terms from a natural gas, and we produce average 40,000 barrels a day in Trinidad, and this was for a measly 150,000 barrels of oil. I mean, so was this really about this measly sale? Because I mean, think about it in terms of dollars and cents. Was this really about 150,000 barrels of oil, or is there something more sinister behind it? Because it's not a huge sale in terms of when you're looking at oil sales. It's not like they committed to 150,000 barrels a month, a week. Then I would say, okay, it benefited the citizens. But is this really about this measly sale of 150,000? And these are the questions as citizens we need to start asking. Is this all this line for a measly sale? No, there's something behind this. And show us the documents. Show us the documents. Show us so we don't have to come to assumptions. So we don't have to continuously be in a state of confusion, wondering what is going on in this country. Show us the documents. Prove us wrong, that we are wrong in our assumptions, that this deal was a very sinister deal.
Well said,
And
well
that's
said,
what they
Mrs.
and that is what they can't do right now. And that is the question that is on everybody's lips. And Anthony, you mentioned some a little bit earlier about people who not that we should have more people speaking out, and I have to commend the people who are speaking out, and not just on the PP side and the opposition side, but I saw Selwyn Pujo that article. I'm seeing several people. Actually, I gave the Express I gave them a huge thumbs up for publishing that editorial piece. All the people on Facebook, I see there's now a petition calling for Stuart Young to resign over this issue. And the fact that he himself, Mr. Dennis Moses, our Minister of Foreign Affairs, and the Prime Minister, the fact that three of them are not even considering resignation is a huge offense to me as a citizen, because you can't watch me in my face and expect me to be so gullible. You can't watch me in my face and expect me to eat up and gobble up that nonsense that you're trying to put out in the public space, that this meeting was about COVID-19 and immigration. And the more people I see pushing back, I need to remember to go and sign that petition, because I mean, like, Hans was a nice start, but for the rest of them, I would like to see you gone as well. And based on this issue, based on what happened over this issue, it is high time that these citizens, those who are still being jaded and blinded by what is happening, it's high time that you recognize that these people, not only do they not have your interests in mind, but they clearly think that you're stupid to believe the nonsense that they're selling. That, I mean, to say that a meeting on COVID-19 did not require having doctors present, Minister of Health wasn't there, the CMO wasn't there. I mean, don't insult my intelligence, please. Please do not insult my intelligence. You said, they say the PNM gave you education. Thank you for that. Being sarcastic here, because I think I was educated in spite of the PNM. But they gave me enough education to know that to pick sense from nonsense. And at risk of over talking this matter anymore, please don't forget to answer the poll question, which is very much related to everything that we are discussing here. You can call in at 9 a.m. as well to ask your questions yourself or answer the question that we have running this morning live on air. Anything for you from you guys left on this topic?
No, I just wanted one last question to the public. If this was an international relations situation, where was Mr. Moses during this? Because he is Minister of Foreign Affairs, and we did not have any indication that he was present in this meeting. Again, if it was a meeting of international relations, then the foreign minister should be there. Minister of Foreign Affairs should be there to facilitate the conversation. So again, start asking the relevant questions.
Very true. Very true. I again, I wouldn't even go on that matter because we're just going to be spinning wheels in mud. We really, Michelle, you've said it all, and again, the government is showing the nation exactly what they're about because what they're doing is not lining up with what is being said. End of story.
Indeed. And moving on to actually, before we move on to that topic, there was something that Selwyn Kudu raised in his article, and I didn't think of this before, but it was actually so obvious it didn't need stating that we had the prime ministers and the minister of national security are saying that they had a meeting and it was just the prime minister and him and Miss Rodriguez and this other guy in the room who apparently was not the president or the CEO of the PDVSA company, which is the energy company, that the gas was reportedly inadvertently sold to via Aruba. But they're saying that it was just the three of them in that room. Where was the translator? Unless our dear prime minister is now fluent in Espanol. I mean,
Hey,
again, I mean, simple, easy little questions that you can ask. These small little questions just blow the cover over the whole subterfuge that they're trying to deceive the public with. And like I said, I don't want to overtalk it anymore. I await the further jokes in public because I know they're gonna come out and make and with some other rubbish and nonsense again that would just leave me with more questions than answers, as is the habit with this government. Moving on to the next topic before
Wait,
we yeah, yes.
I just want to touch one. I just want to insert one thing.
Uh-huh.
Where's the opposition? Where's the opposition in all this? Aren't they not supposed to keep the present day government wheels on the track? Aren't they supposed to insist on a level of transparency and accountability by the government of the day? Is the reason why you're supposed to be in opposition to actually be the voice of the people and ensuring the people get the information, because again, it's our treasury, it's our money, it's our country, it's our assets, it's our industries in Trinidad and Tobago. So again, why aren't the people having the questions answered and the opposition be the ones to broker for that? What's going on with them? I mean, in reality, it is the Progressive Empowerment Party that is bringing up all the issues and footnotes and problems that we are dealing with and what we are being aware of. We're the ones that's putting it into the public. And it's always after the fact is then you would hear the UNC may go and move a motion in Parliament or present whatever. But again, the point of the matter is that why are they not proactive themselves, as when things unfold and when things happen, be right there on the mark, ensuring that there's accountability and What's the purpose of opposition right now? Anybody can answer that? Really?
To
the
copy
the
and paste
the
policy
deafening
and
silence.
try to pass it as their own.
Yeah,
I actually
the
saw Campus Bissessa had a printout of the documents that Philip would have posted in the public. The ex TV6 actually made mention of it in literally a 2-second mention that political leader of the Progressive Empowerment Party, Philip Alexander, released the document on its page. No proper investigative journalism into the document. It was glossed over. The Prime Minister made mention of it. Stuart Young said, yes, it's real, but with the usual. But I was saying on the Friday show that were I the people working under Stuart Young, were I the permanent secretary responsible for that document, were I the team in the Ministry of National Security, I would want that man gone because he basically threw the blame on them. He said, I signed the document, but it's the responsibility of the people in the public service to deal with things like that. He literally said, I am not accountable, it's on them. And as the Minister of National Security, as the minister on a whole, I don't know, probably they did not tell him that the buck stops with him. But then Coleman Booth is wearing the buck hat, so I don't know. Sorry. I apologize for that very lame joke. I'm allowed, it's my birthday, okay? Anyway, so I think we can move on to the we can move on to the next topic now. 12,612 salary relief grants have been reportedly paid to date. The Prime Minister can't tell you how many of those people are self employed. He can't tell you how many of those people are people who were laid off or lost their income. Because according to him, he doesn't have that information. And if you file a report or file for information from the relevant authorities, you may be able to get that information. So I guess we would have to file to get that breakdown of who was paid and paid what, I guess, because still of this 12,612 people, we are still nowhere close to administering the even 50% of the salary relief. And I believe they said that they were supposed to be rolling out 10,000 a week. If that is the case, we are significantly behind. Let's talk about this salary grant.
Felicia, let's
Salary.
continue with the lies, lies, and more lies. Because the first week only 1,000 was issued. The second week, the figure went up to 2,991. And now, miraculously, after the Progressive Empowerment Party pounded this issue last week, we have a miraculous 12,600 checks issued. Let's be real. That is not the figure. And plus, there are figure amounts in the terms of the disbursement. One figure is saying 16 million. If you count the 12,600, I think that's 18 million. So they don't even have their figures straight. We did not miraculously issue 10,000 checks in 1 week. We are not functional enough. We are not efficient enough to administer that way. So let's be real. Stop with the lies. We're just trying to cater to the public, but yet the average citizen on social media, the average citizen is begging still for hampers. The average citizen is begging, going to social media to plead their case of no food, of no money, of total sufferation after 6 to 7 weeks of this lockdown. So let's be real. The money still has not hit the citizens. We broke it down last week. We saw that a measly 4.5 million as of last week was issued, while $700 million was issued for VAT refunds. What is the priority of this government? What is it? What is the priority? Do we want to see citizens on the street hungry? Is that what we're aiming for? Because that's the road we're going down.
I like that. I like that point you just raised there, Michelle. And I've actually asked myself the same question. Again, with the actions of the government of the day, is it truly the agenda that they are trying to accomplish a chaotic environment in Trinidad and Tobago? Because again, having protocols and policies in this COVID-19 and what they have presented to the public again. Yes, they're talking one thing, but the action in itself is something completely different. We have 1.4 million people in this country. At least we don't even have an exact number to be honest, because of the last time we've done a census is how long ago. So as far as numbers on the ground, we don't have factual information. But even with that said, the state was supposed to ensure if you're freezing the economy, we've said it before, everybody has an ID card, the same way how the EBC is able to make sure that you can get a ballot or your party card or what the case might be in the mail. And we're talking the electorate in the country is what, 700,000, 500,000. What's that number?
I
Whatever
think
that
it's a
number is.
little
The
over a
point is,
million people actually, close
all
to a
right.
million people.
So, okay then. So the point of the matter is that you can get to 1 million people in the mail during an election period what they need to get as paraphernalia from EBC. But you're telling me in a crisis, we cannot dispense if it's at $2,000 or $4,000 via a check in the same mail, or develop a card system, which would be much faster to fabricate in my mind. Again, mail it out to the population. Everybody who have an address, ID card, name, you have the ID number. Same way how EBC does it, you can access every home in Trinidad and Tobago. Why wasn't it done in that sense? Why it is you're looking to take the long way around and want to put on this big show? Look, you're giving the church, you're giving religious institutions money, man, to dispense among the population around their neighborhoods and so on. Why does the local level government could not do this? You understand? Again, local level government did not even have to do it. We are talking about it even coming in the mail for you. It's not even touching. It's coming straight from central government straight to your mailbox. The point is that they have shown ways of great efficiency in the past, but for the wrong thing.
Yes.
I was reading this article that Shari sent to us here, which was, it seemed, I don't, is this government paying people on the outside to write articles and to blog about what is really happening, about what is supposedly happening in this country? Because I was reading this article from COVID Underdogs Medium.com, and they're saying that the Trinidad and Tobago government was so proactive, they locked down the borders at least one day after the case was confirmed. And if I wasn't sure that it was a propaganda piece, they they're saying that citizens are getting 2,000 US dollars over a period of 3 months. And I'm like, come on, who wrote this article? This, I mean, at least they could have pretend to you could have said 1,500 US dollars, and it's 1,500 TT dollars per month for anybody who is confused. This is still way less than 2,000 US dollars. I think you confused us with Canada, who is actually giving
Yes.
their citizens 500 Canadian dollars a week up to 6 months. Gosh, I swear to God, over this COVID-19 period, I felt like applying for my Canadian citizenship. Just, and it has nothing to do with not loving my country. I love Trinidad and Tobago to death, but this administration, through this pandemic, via this pandemic, has made living in this country even more unbearable than it has been. I want to read this particular article. Someone sent this to my inbox. She raised this as an issue, and I promised her that I would discuss it on this show. I know that nobody had time to plan for this pandemic. The government closed all casinos and bars first while they were still putting things in place. My workplace closed on March 16th. The government took exactly 1 month before we could submit salary grant claim forms, which was April 15th. That is 1 month without salary. Our lower class people bills never stop for the month. Then 33,000 citizens applied for the salary grant and only 4,000 were processed. This is craziness. I haven't received anything yet and I have a young baby to see about. My daughter is 8 months. My daughter is 8 months old. My salary was $2,700 a fortnight. The salary grant is $1,500. My digital play bill is $1,200 because it's for March and April. What am I to do? Please put it out there so I can get a solution because this is total madness. And this is very, what I'm going to read here is very might shock some of you, but it is the reality, and I'm reading it exactly as she said it. I'm on my last two pads because I have no pads for my period next week. But I realize that this pandemic is for the rich to get richer and the essential and but I realize that this pandemic is for the rich to get richer, the essential are the middle class so they can manage, and the poor people will get poorer and suffer because we have nothing to receive. We have to line up like prisoners and act like dogs. You may ask yourself, why wasn't I saving money? No, I did not ask that question. But yes, I had savings and I use it all because I'm currently building my own home because I didn't want to rent for the rest of my life. And as I have said before, the COVID-19 pandemic wasn't foreseen by anyone. I'm so disappointed in this government. For election day, I am definitely voting them out.
What a sad
Yes.
reflection of what we are going through as a country. I mean, you were reading that and my heart was racing, literally. What a sad reflection of how the government is so out of touch of what the average citizen is going through. The average citizen did not even have food for 2 weeks. The average citizen did not have savings for 1 month. And that is something that the present government is failing to realize. We didn't have the millions in the bank account to take us through this pandemic. Yes, it is an unforeseen circumstance, but all we were asking as citizens is that you remained proactive in your approach. And you know, Raleigh, Mr. Prime Minister said something this week that that the US was no is not an example that he should follow. And I mentioned last week, we copied everything else. And Felicia, just to back up what I was saying last week, I looked at some timelines in regards to how Canada and the US had really handled this situation. From March 4th, the US had already presented a bill to immediately to the House of Representatives for a $500 billion initial economic relief. That was their first action on the pandemic, is that they had to get money to the citizens. The U.S. began shutting down from March 13th. Canada started closing their borders from the 16th, and economic relief was passed in Canada on the 25th. If you look at our timeline, we officially closed down the 28th. Our economic relief was announced on the 28th. Remember, Felicia? We were indicating that, but it really did not. It didn't go into effect until, as the letter indicated, a month
A
later.
month.
So yes, correct. So yes, you did copy the U.S. and you did copy Canada, but what you failed to do is protect the citizens in this case. Now we are seeing hunger at a rate we have never seen. We should be ashamed of ourselves. But this is where the Progressive Empowerment Party comes in. This is where policies will benefit you. This is where efficiencies and first world standards would have benefited you as the citizens of this country. We would have been able to hit a database and immediately disperse funds. But instead, we continue with the bureaucracy and the archaic ways of governance that do not benefit the citizens of this country.
Well said. Well said, Michelle. Well said, Michelle. I would want to add to that the fact that, again, we are continuously wanting to be followers and not leaders. I mean, really and truly, as a leader, you telling me that for the last 57 years, no one, as a leader of our fine nation, was not able to proactively create different models in which the country may experience and have a system, proposal, and protocols that can be on the sideline to implement in the event Trinidad and Tobago was to fall in one of these categories, whether it be the said situation we're dealing with right now with a pandemic, whether it be with a natural disaster of either a hurricane or possibly earthquake, whether it be fire across the country, whether it be a tsunami, whether it be a world war for that matter, whether it be something, disagreement within the region or something that is global. The point is that there are many different scenarios that we can model as a nation in protecting our citizens, protecting our economy, protecting our way of life. It's not rocket science to know what different variables that a country may experience at some point in time in their existence. So you, as a leader, supposed to have discussions, supposed to be able to put systems and mechanisms in place, having those talks, bringing certain entities into the fray of things, at least for everybody to be on the same page in the event something were to take place. And again, proactive measures. As a leader, that's what you are supposed to do, not sit back and wait to see what Canada doing or what America doing or what England doing. Yes, you would acquire information from them as in whether it be medical information or particular pieces of information that you can implement as to how you are moving your country forward in a particular situation. But it does not mean to say that because America on the 27th decide to say, well, they're going to lock down the country, well, on the 28th, yeah, boy, we're going to lock down the country too. Because guess what? We could have locked down the damn country if we were proactive enough. January 1st, or in fact, when the president of Trinidad and Tobago had brought awareness to this COVID and expressing her concern towards this, at that point in January, we should have
Right.
been leaders enough to now close our country. And what we are doing now should have been done then. Not decide to say, let we have carnival, everybody wind down the place and honky go dory and well, God is at Trinina. You understand? That idiotic way of thinking that we have. Look, every other Caribbean island in the entire Caribbean right now, cancel carnival. Cancel it. We're the only bunch of fools that decide to say, hey, it was so important for we to have carnival because the money we need it so much now. I asked the question even back then, is it actually worth it? Was carnival actually worth it? Because it was a loss for us. Is how much money that the Trinidad make versus the investment that we had to put in order to host carnival number one to begin with. Why we couldn't segregate the country at that point in January and start in February, cancel or push carnival back. Obviously, we need to see what the environment is on an international scale pertaining towards this pandemic. But the point is that we didn't say that we wanted to just cancel carnival on a whole. Let's delay it. Let's push it back. Let's segregate the country and quarantine the country end of January. From February, we look at a 3-month period. You systematically have a level of control as to what it is you are doing, freezing the economy, sending the population in a quarantine situation, and again having the systems on the ground that making sense because we didn't have to give anybody any money. The point is that we needed to ensure if we have the census numbers of every home in Trinidad and Tobago in each constituency, and again, that is where local level government will come in giving those statistics and numbers to central government so they know what it is they will be doing as far as getting needed help towards our citizens. The point of the matter is, if you're freezing the economy, the most important thing you have to focus on is feeding every home and family in each home. End of story. End of story. Get the actual figures as to who is the haves and who is the have-nots. And drill the help down there. Don't have people how much 8 weeks later in a quarantine, 7 weeks later in a quarantine, people still ain't get any assistance from the state, still can't get access, no grants, and still don't know how it is they're feeding their families. I mean, look, we are creating a chaotic environment, and the question must be posed again. Is that the agenda of this administration in creating a purposeful, chaotic environment? Is it because it's an election year? Is it because you need to ensure to create contracts for your friends and family, whether it be with security companies because, the place gone mad, everybody robbing each other and the place just falling apart? I mean, really and truly, what the... I don't want to cuss on this live, and I greatly apologize. My blood
Stick
getting a
up,
little hot because I just... Gil, go
stick,
ahead, Felicia. So,
stick, stick up in right there because we are due for a break right now. But we're gonna take a break and come back on this topic because we haven't even begun to discuss everything concerning this topic. I mean, we have out of a country of 1.4 million people, only 900 rental grants have been received. And that if that is not testament to just how hard and complicated and convoluted the entire application system is, I don't know what is. We know that we don't only have 900 people renting in this country. I know, actually, I spoke to someone yesterday who's telling me, girl, this, like, she's asking me how I can help in terms of helping her with the form. She's asking if I know of anywhere that might be willing to take somebody and let them work for them for a small pay because she has rent to pay, and not being in government, not having the power and the authority of parliament, of being able to sign and release funds to people who need it the most is something that in the position that I'm in right now, it really breaks my heart, but it also should shame the people who are responsible for Camille Robinson Regis to come every week and just spew a whole manner of nonsense on TV, on radio, trying to convince the people that this government is actually being proactive with regards to dealing with people like this young lady who sent me that this heartbreaking story is again another poppy show for the people, and we here on Pep Talks in the morning, we here in the Progressive Empowerment Party not buying it, and we will continue to expose it. But we will be right back after this break, and don't forget we are opening the phone lines for you to call in. I see, like I said, a lot of people are reaching out to me. If you have your own story, if you have anything you'd like to express with regards to this relief, the lines will be open to you. We will be right back.
Antel is Trinidad's most reliable and technically experienced ICT company, providers of quality structured cabling, Cat6 data fiber, and power cables. We also stock cabling infrastructure basket-type cable trays for server rooms and data centers. Antel also installs and maintains video security systems including cameras, alarms, and electronic entrance locks for businesses and residential properties. Call Antel 674-1406 or 783-9250.
Science says that countries that have the greatest number of home ownership among families have the lowest levels of crime. Trinidad and Tobago has massive poverty, runaway crime, and an economy that makes no sense to anyone looking in from outside. We also suffer from the impact of corruption and narco-trafficking dollars being hidden in real estate, driving the prices up and drying up the supply. Banking in Trinidad and Tobago, unregulated, our mortgage system creates a scenario where the average house, the average home, by the time it is fully paid off, would have cost the homeowner twice and more the value initially paid. The government can impact home ownership, redevelop the family, end crime, and take Trinidad and Tobago to first world status simply by securing the nation's borders to end the drug trade and stuffing the containers on the port again to end the drug trade, to create a property tax system that calls for 0% tax on primary dwellings, a 5% tax on secondary homes, a 10% tax on third homes, 15% on fourth homes, and escalating until by the 10th house that you own is so onerous in taxes to keep that you have no choice but to sell it or pay full value of that house to the state every year. We need to do this to drive corruption dollars and drug dollars out of real estate and bring the prices back in reach with the average income, the average wage, the average salary. Trinbagonians do not get full value for their money, and that is a conversation we have to have. But when we're talking housing, to get the average person into their own home, it is a right and a privilege of the state to be able to offer to these people zero deposit, zero interest for up to 30 years on up to homes valued up to $1.5 million. This would reduce the mortgage payments to about $500 per $100,000. And if we remove the duties and the VATs and all of the taxes on all of the building materials and open the market to competition to drive the prices down, the cost of building the average 1,200 square foot starter home will not exceed $100,000. And with $500 a month as a mortgage payment, even minimum wage earners would be able to afford their own home. The numbers say that in countries where families own their own homes, crime is at its lowest. The Progressive Empowerment Party is very sure, in fact, we're certain, that of all the policies that we build our 21 policies on, home ownership is the most important of all the important ones. We propose zero deposit, zero interest for up to 30 years on homes up to $1.5 million. Normal bank lending criteria apply. In Trinidad and Tobago, no one policy has the greatest opportunity to impact upon the development of the society like home ownership. The Progressive Empowerment Party promises to make home ownership for all a central pillar in all of our economic development. I am Philip Edward Alexander, and this has been 3 minutes to a better Trinidad and Tobago.
And we are back, just recognizing birthdays that are not mine and people who share birthdays with me today. Deodaft Singh and David Castellano. Is that how you pronounce his name? You know, I always know his last name and I never actually had to say it aloud. I think it's David Castellano. I believe he is on the live video this morning. So happy birthday to you, David and Castellano. You are born on May 18th, so that means you're super awesome. Anyway, back to the the discussion that we're having, and the phone lines are definitely open if you would like to call in. Actually, I would really appreciate hearing from you this Monday morning. I love when you call. It gives us a nice opportunity to interact with the public, interact with the viewers. That number is 769-4590. Yes, it is up on the screen. As well, we have a poll running, so if you're just joining the discussion, please take a few seconds to answer that poll. We're also back from the break, so please hit share on this video again, even if you did it before, and let's ramp up the views on this discussion this morning. I do take WhatsApp calls as well. Just make sure you have a good connection. Same numbers, 868, and here we have a call. Good morning.
Good morning, Felicia.
Good morning, Mr. Anthony.
Yeah, Joan and I would like to extend our best wishes on your birthday.
Oh, thank you very much. Did I freeze? I hope I did not freeze on the live video. It seems like I am frozen. So let me see for let me see. Hold on. Am I frozen, guys?
I don't know. Joan is watching. I am
Yes.
in another room.
All right, I'm back. I'm back. So we live on the program. Good morning to you, Anthony.
Yeah, so I was surprised I got through by my first call.
You surprised you got? You got through on your first
I
call?
got through to you, yeah.
Oh, yes. You're my first caller this morning, and Anthony actually called to say happy birthday on behalf of him and Joan. Anthony's the head of our PEP Canada chapter. Thank you very much, Anthony. Much, much, much appreciated.
I wouldn't take up any more of your time. Have a great day.
Thank you very much. You enjoy yours as well. And please tell Joan hi and thank you for me.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Joan and Anthony Sinanan, two strong pillars in terms of building the Progressive Empowerment Party. I had the pleasure of meeting them when I went to Canada 2 years ago, and since then they've been back a couple of times here in Trinidad. PEP Toronto, it's a thing. We have a page on Facebook. Search for PEP Toronto if you'd like to be a part and join that chapter. I get a lot of foreign messages from people, I guess, wanting to be a part of, well, they are part of this discussion. And if you would like to join the PEP Toronto team, just search for them on Facebook or feel free to send me a WhatsApp after this program. But while we wait for any more calls, back to the discussion of our 12,612 salary relief grants that have been paid. It is, I mean, sometimes I am at a loss for words when I think about, what is really taking place in terms of this salary relief grant, because you have the people, there was a propaganda piece that I did not read, but I heard about because Philip referenced it in his response. Some Amanda lady who put from the UK, and she's talking about how great things are in Trinidad and Tobago. And people who do things like that, they really upset me because you're writing on behalf of whoever asked you to write that. If you took it upon yourself to write that, you're obviously not on the ground. You're obviously not um getting the information and the feedback firsthand from the people who really feeling this pinch the most. And I read this as said, hold on, I'm getting a call. Hello, good morning. You are live on Pep Talks in the morning.
Hi, good morning, Felicia. Good morning, Anthony. Good morning, Michelle.
Morning.
Good morning.
And I Felicia. Happy birthday. Hope you enjoy it, and I wish you to see many more.
Thank you very much.
I God's blessing.
All right. Anything else you wanted to say or just a
And by
bit?
the way,
Yeah.
see, what I want to say is this, right? I like how I like how you and Anthony especially keeping the fire on behind on your young behind. Yes, I like how you're lighting him up this morning.
Yes, and we will continue to do so, hopefully until he's fired.
Mm-hmm. I like when Anthony go up on his rant because there's my mom herself sometimes.
Yes, Anthony is our ranter in chief.
Yeah, because I did since he and I be ranting in my mind too, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, we have no other recourse there but to just keep talking, keep ranting, keep bringing up the issue so that it doesn't die. Chinese have a short memory, and we will continue to remind them.
Yeah, for real. Continue doing that. But one more thing before I go, right?
Yes,
See, I don't know if all you're aware of this, but it's supposed to have a tropical wave coming on Wednesday. I don't know if you know anything about it. So
I
my question,
I don't, but go ahead.
so my question is, in the rainy season almost here, right? Are
Hmm.
we ready? That's the question.
Hmm.
Are we ready? Are we prepared? And who said, are we prepared to collect that bounty of rainfall that we talked about all the time? Or is it going to be our next week? Or is it going to be drought next year as usual?
Huh. If you want, I will answer that one off air because this is this topic is a stickler for me actually. I just got 3 missed calls, so and I'll open up the lines for anybody else who wants to call. Right, I will answer your question
And no,
off air though.
no problem. Have a great day.
You too, and thank you for the birthday wishes. Listen, I listened to Seguni predict the worst or probably the wettest rainy season that we have ever had or have had in a while. She's also predicting flood. Oh, let me take this call. Hello, good morning. You're live on Pep Talks in the morning.
Hi, good morning. I'm calling from New Jersey, United States.
Oh, hi, good morning.
Hello,
Yes, I think I
how
am
you doing?
I am good, but I think I am frozen. So let me just check that.
Yeah, I'm hearing you clearly.
I know you're hearing me, but I think I'm frozen on the program itself. So let me just check my
I
connection.
think I think Rowley probably doing that to you.
Probably, he probably is. But yes,
You,
I'm back. So you're calling from New
yeah,
Jersey this morning. Morning.
yes. Morning. Yes, I think that the people in Trinidad and Tobago have to unite together. And once they unite together and they see what is going on for a better country, for them and the family and the children, then everything gonna work good. Once they're not thinking about that, then is a big problem because the people that supporting the Rowley administration, they're probably working in government, have a good job, and just some people just have a trend that they want him to be there. They don't care if they suffer because when you go to check back in life and in history, what did that government ever do for the people that live in Laventille, Silat, Carnage, and all these places? People are still suffering. And once the people from that area could think about what Rowley is doing to them, then everything will go very, very good. Because Rowley is so ungrateful. This man have his daughter living in Brooklyn, New York. I think she's a doctor, a pediatric or something like that. And he is doing so much of foolish things with the American government. What about if Donald Trump say, okay, you know what? Since you're playing games now, I will deport your daughter back to Trinidad, kick back everything. How he gonna feel? He gave us a certain living in Miami. So you see, he is damming the own bridge that he has to cross again. And that man don't care about nobody. And everybody have to see what he is doing. He is not doing the right thing for the people. He's only doing things for himself and his family and friends. But I do hope whichever government goes in back there, whether the PEP or the UNC or whoever going there, they jail all of them. And once they start to jail these people, then you're going to see a lot of changes. But if the government goes in there and they just only talk and they're not jailing anybody and taking back all the equity that they have with the bill with citizens' money, taxpayers' money, then you're going to see a change. But I don't think government might do that. The only person I think might have an or want to do that, and I do hope he does it, is Philip. Because I follow Philip a lot. You know, I don't think the UNC going to do that because them and Rowley in the same thing. Because when you check the history from Rajneesh Pandey and Rowley and all of them, what the people get? The people are living the same way. The people gets nothing from them, nothing. That's the reason why I left Trinidad about almost 30 years ago. Because of the same reason. As a young man coming up, I couldn't get a job. I was working temporary in the government service and all something like that. And I get frustrated. And you know what? Today I'm a happy man. I don't miss anything in Trinidad. I come down there because I have my family live there. But you know what? If I was in Trinidad, I probably might have died already with the condition. Well, anyway, thank you very much for your time, and I will listen to you off the air. Have a great day.
Thank you, New Jersey. And Michelle, Anthony, you all feel free to respond to what he just said on the call.
Well, Felicia, I'm constantly asked, am I here? Because of course everyone detects my accent, and we laugh and joke. I am the Ameridadian in the group, but the color really resonated with me because my family, left Trinidad 60 plus years ago, and what they've been able to accomplish was because opportunities were available. And you look at the youths in Trinidad. I've been here 12 years, and I'm on the ground speaking to people on behalf of the Progressive Empowerment Party. And it's so sad that there are no opportunities. Each government come, government go, and there's no plan for the youths. It is getting a job in Trinidad is like entering the Pentagon. It is almost impossible. I held a senior management position in the States, and for 6 years, I could not get a job in Trinidad, even though I was working for a Fortune 500 company. And it's so sad that there are no opportunities. And what that caller is stating is what most Trinidadians who left the country will say they were better off. And as Anthony always says, why do we have to go to another man's land to succeed? It should be heartbreaking to hear stories like this, that our country is literally driving its citizens away. Hence the reason I get really upset when I see diehards in New York, defending the madness. You are not here on the ground. Until you are here on the ground experiencing what we are experiencing, the incompetence, the deliberate greed, the injustice to the average man, you can never feel what the citizen in Trinidad is feeling.
Well said, Michelle. Well said. And again, like the caller just said, he had to leave Trinidad and Tobago, and it's sad to see. And it just shows again the gross incompetence of our leaders. You're looking to develop a country. Even look, Manning, come and talk about Vision 2020. We in the year 2020. What have we accomplished as a nation from then till now? Nothing. We've had an administration that is PNM right now for the last 4 going on 5 years and has not carried on the idea of the 2020 vision that Manning had. I would think that as a political leader back then, for the said same political vehicle as the PNM, even though the leadership has changed under Rowley, at least they would have taken the mantle to try to help and usher something new, fresh, and develop for Trinidad and Tobago to address the said vision we had 2020. And again, we have nothing to show. Right now in Trinidad and Tobago, we even before the COVID-19 situation, Trinidad was already a broken state. We had no hope. We had no opportunity. Nothing worked. We have students going to school studying fields that we don't even have job placements for. So what is the sense even offering these fields for? Again, it's not a nation that is proactively looking at a proper development stage for the country on a national level, for the citizens as a whole, especially the young people, because we're talking here now, in the next 10 years is a whole new batch of minds that's going to be on the ground here in Trinidad. There's going to be a whole new generation coming out of the bowels of our nation, Trinidad and Tobago, and is what opportunities are they going to have here on the ground, and is why the motive of the day for any citizen is to go American embassy, Canadian embassy, go the English embassy, get your visa, fly out. Fly out.
Right.
Because you have no hope and opportunity to in the country. You have nothing as a skill set that can complement what it is you're going to school to study. You have all these engineers within the oil and gas industry, an industry that is being phased out on a global scale. You telling me nobody within leadership, nobody within education, within UE and UTT and all these different institutions couldn't foresee or realizing on a global scale that they are moving away from fossil fuels and looking
Yeah.
more into regenerative, natural energy, efficient, clean forms of energy such as solar, tidal, wave, air, wind, and so on. This is what the world is looking at. So why are we not being proactive enough to create now models, especially where the learning curve is concerned in our education system, to complement the steps that the nation needs to take in the very near future? But yet we up to now still talking about oil and gas
Oil and
and
gas.
trying to peg that with our economy. That is madness. It is madness. And again, it just shows that our leaders have no direction for the population, for the country. And Trinidad and Tobago, we must wake up and realize that we are not having a driver in the driver's seat. The damn car driving down the road without a driver in it. It has somebody sit down in the seat, but nobody holding the damn steering wheel. Nobody taking us in a
Mm-hmm.
proper direction that making any bloody sense. And we are going to crash into a bloody wall. And we must recognize this. We cannot be reactive to wait to hit the damn wall, then now to want to say, let me try to diversify, let me try to shift, let me try to do this, that, and the other. Oh my goodness, man. Oh gosh, leaders of Trinidad and Tobago, please. All you could be smarter than what it is you're presenting to the public, man. Really and truly, really and truly. And we have a unique opportunity right now in Trinidad and Tobago, forcefully, due to this COVID-19, where we have to restructure everything within Trinidad and Tobago. Perfect opportunity, as we say in the Progressive Empowerment Party, reboot the damn republic. Turn everything off, switch it back on. Let we act as if we now get blasted independence. Let us now create models, policies, and protocols for Trinidad and Tobago, not just for the citizens, but on a national level where development is concerned, in moving the damn country forward, showing the population where they can be beneficiaries of that development, of that betterment and policies and protocols that you are proposing to put into the public for the benefit of the people. Nobody ain't talking that. The only people talking that is the Progressive Empowerment Party. And again, I am proud to be a member and part of this fine political organization. And again, I take my hat off to Mr. Alexander, to Mr. Ian, to Mr. Harry Hunt, to Ms. Andulal for being the body of people, the start, the seed in having this political entity created for the people of Trinidad and Tobago to bring and usher in true betterment. And don't take our word for it, Trinidad and Tobago. All you do the research, all you need to get up off all you behind and do the damn research, find out for fact exactly what we are saying, if it is true, if it can work, if it making sense to you, as well as go to the other political parties, find out what their policies, what their manifesto, what their proposals are for you and your family, and you let common sense bloody well prevail. That is what I am saying, and you will realize it is our policies are second to none. Second to none. It's been studied over 10 years. It has been tried and tested on a global scale. We have refabricated the policies to address our demographics, our multicultural society, what we have come from as a nation, as a people. We have streamlined this for the betterment of Trinidad and Tobagonians. End of story. And again, we don't have enough time to really dive into the policies in itself right now. But again, Trinidad and Tobago, you make the initiative for yourself, for your family, and your future. And do the damn homework which is necessary for you to be able to have the proper information to make better decisions for yourself and family and the future to come. End that story.
Well said, Anthony. And we have another call coming in. Hello, good morning. You are live on Pep Talks in the morning.
Good morning, Felicia.
Good
Good morning,
morning.
Michelle. Good morning, Anthony Dufour.
Morning.
You there, caller?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi. Oh, they just said morning to you. Good morning again.
Oh, good morning. Happy birthday, Felicia.
Thank you.
I was just listening to your program, and I was just thinking about the people in Trinidad and Tobago. To me, everybody in Trinidad knows about the PEP, the Progressive Empowerment Party. They do, because come on, it's a small country. The people in Trinidad and Tobago know that the PNM is a fraud, and they are corrupt, and they are just driving the people of Trinidad and Tobago to the ground. But the problem is with the people in Trinidad, they're afraid. Everybody is looking to the left and looking to the right to see who's going to make the first move. And if the person to the left or the person to the right, nobody moves. Everybody's just waiting to see who's going to move first. They are afraid. Nobody wants to move. They know what's going on. They know the PNM is a fraud. They know it in their core. They're just afraid. And it's sad. And then the other thing, these 6 people that's on that ship, it broke my heart to hear that guy this morning. I heard him at 6 o'clock this morning on a show. Oh, he is pleading to the Minister of National Security, begging, pleading. You can hear tears in his voice that all they want to do is come home. And they're willing to quarantine just so they can come home. And these people are actually telling these people, no, it's heartbreaking. I mean, you should hear the guy's voice. They are 2 hours away from home. How heartless is that? I mean, come on. I was listening to your last caller. He called you from New Jersey. I'm calling you from Brooklyn, New York. And that's one of the same reasons why I'm here in Brooklyn, New York. Trinidad had nothing for me. I couldn't get anything done. I couldn't get anywhere. I couldn't get a place to live. So I had to migrate. I'm here 48 years.
Wow.
I would love to come home. I'm tired. I have somewhere I can go home where I can build something. But am I coming over there? Oh no. I'm going to stay right here. But I'm just on the outside looking in. And it's a hurtful situation. A lot of us out here, we're watching. We are watching. Trust me, we are watching. And I only hope that the PEP Empowerment Party, I hope Philip does something, and I hope he gets into that office because you know what? It's time for a change. And if he does get in there, who knows? Maybe I change my mind. Anyway, nice talking to you guys. You have a wonderful birthday. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Caller, like the caller before that and the caller before that, you all give me a lot of hope. For 2 reasons. One, that you are out there living what is a first world country, not having to deal with the rubbish that we're dealing with here, and yet still you're still interested in the well-being of the people that you have left behind. I have a caller interesting caller this morning. Hello, good morning. You're live on Pep Talk in the morning.
Good morning. I'm calling for which the chairman of the Progressive Empowerment Party.
Aw, thank you.
Yeah, and the ask why for you looking for that same foreign Harris and the future.
Why he looking so what, Vex?
You're really safe looking Polly.
I don't think they're hearing you sounding a little bit muffled. Oh, you heard him?
Yeah, he's awful.
Yeah, you're a little bit muffled, Philip.
You hear me better now?
I hear you better now, yes.
When Tony was on the radio with me, he couldn't stop smiling. I used to think his face would hurt. What's going on now?
I don't know. Maybe he missing his wingman.
I think that's what's going on.
Mr.
Anyway,
Mawick, man.
I really hope you have a fantastic day under these circumstances and great job as usual, all of you. Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning, sir.
You heard me,
Have
Shal,
a,
right?
yes, ladies. Have a great day, all of you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Man.
Mr. Pep political leader called in this morning. Thank you for that birthday greeting. What the caller was saying before though, and I was saying that, I have to commend the people who have left this country but still have an interest in this country, and I have to commend them also for the work and the help that they are, committing to helping us with build this movement, as you would say. Because, I mean, it is easy to leave here, turn your back and look forward and never, look back on what you left behind. But the fact that you are so interested, a lot of the callers, a lot of the people who message me about the show are people from the outside who are looking in, and they have so much hope for the Progressive Empowerment Party changing things, not for them if they have to return back to Trinidad and Tobago, but for the family that behind. Because I mean, the reality is when many of us leave, it's not like you could pack up your whole family and go. The reality is sometimes you have to go on your own to forge a new life for yourself. And I just want to put this number out here before I turn the convo over to Michelle and Anthony to respond. We have a PEP New York chapter, and our PEP New York leader, Denise Xavier, she's most likely on the live. She's usually here every morning. Good morning to you, Denise. The number to reach out if you would like to be a part of the PEP New York team. I know the previous caller was from New Jersey, but you can be a part of the team as well because she's heading up the overall chapter in the United States. The number is 347 500 1457, and I'm going to copy that number and post it on the live video as well for those who are watching. I will repeat it again: 347 500 1457. That is if you would like to be a part of the PEP New York team, or if you're in New Jersey, wherever you are, please feel free to reach out to Denise. Michelle.
Hearing the caller, last night I had a conversation with my mom, just last night, 10 o'clock last night, and my mom is 95. She left Trinidad 60 years ago. And she said, I was very concerned for you in going back to Trinidad. And she told me last night, and it really brought tears to my eyes. She said, I don't know if I've ever told you, but I'm really, proud of you for taking such an interest in your heritage. And I what's when I came back to Trinidad, I told my uncle at that time, I said, I'm going to educate Trinidad. And had I no idea about political, I said it just from a customer service standpoint, operational standpoint, from my work experience. But having a political background, I somehow fell into PEP, and I know how the foreign the Trinidadians overseas feel. You feel you want to help. You feel because we deserve better. When you talk to the average man on the street, you want to hold them and you want to tell them you deserve better. There is better. And it is a passion that reigns with us, that all of us that have been experienced, Anthony can vouch for this. When you've seen first world action and you've seen efficiency, you want to say to your fellow citizens, this is what we could be. This is what we deserve as a country. And this is what we are trying to do at the Progressive Empowerment Party. We are trying to educate the citizens and show you, to ask the relevant questions and show you that there is a better life for all of us, not for some of us, but for all of us. And together with your vote, with your thinking, we can do this as a nation and change the direction of this country.
Well said, Michelle. Yes, yes, definitely. And to the said callers and foreign based Trinidadians, the point of the Progressive Empowerment Party being in existence is to create a fixed country that you can come back home and be proud to say that you are Trinidadian and Tobagonian. we as a people, we are not happy to be Trinidadian. As soon as we jump on a plane, whether we go in America or England or wherever, before we come off that plane, we are talking more Yankee or English than anybody else. And you don't see
Yeah.
any other race or any other people from any other country doing that. The Jamaicans don't do it, the Haitians don't do it, the Spanish don't do it, the French don't do it. The point of the matter is that everyone has a level of pride in their country and their nationality. For Trinidadians, just the way we operate and the way we look at things, the way we deal with things, the way we are just with ourselves. We don't have national pride. We have a level of division in Trinidad and Tobago across the board. There are lines drawn all around us. Who have money, who don't, who living in land, who living in gated community, who living in a shack, who drive a nice car, who have big house, who don't have it, and so on. We don't identify ourselves as Trinidad and Tobagonians, and I think that's one of the first things as the nationals on the ground, both here locally as well as foreigners, for us to identify ourselves as Trinidad and Tobagonians. Nobody is no Indo-Trini and Afro-Trini. You don't hear about no Afro, Indo-Jamaican or Afro-Jamaican. You don't hear about that. You don't hear about no
Yes.
Indo-Haitian or it's only
Yes.
in Trinidad they hear this garbage. You understand? So the
Yes.
point is that we as a people must take the first step in identifying ourselves as Trinidad and Tobagonians. And then now we can have open doors in doing for all, being on the same page, having the same rights, and believing in it, and being proud to have it. That's the point. That's the whole mission of the Progressive Empowerment Party. And again, I take my hat off to Mr. Philip Alexander. Thank you very much for the call, sir. And yes, my face a little twist up because I've vexed. I vex. All you know, I vex. You vex too. I know you vex too, Philip. So at the end of the day, all the skinty that we had before in 2017 and 2018 and 2019, look, it's 2020 right now, partner. And you and I both know that now is not no skin teeth laughing matter. It is down to the wire, and it is very serious for us here in Trinidad and Tobago. And we must forge a way forward. We must bring the people together, and we must bring a level of betterment, hope, and opportunity for all. End of story. We can have it. And the point is, the people have to recognize their potential and know for a fact that by putting a Progressive Empowerment Party administration to speak on their behalf, to deal with the country's and national business in bringing a level of betterment for the citizens, it is the people have to make that choice. You, the people, have to want that. We can take the camel to the well, but we cannot force it to drink. I know the population is jaded with the past political entities before, with all the lies, all the misconceptions, all the show. The point is that we here in the Progressive Empowerment Party are regular people who can identify with you on the ground. We know what you need because we experience it too. We deal with the same things you deal with. Whether we live in gated communities or not, the point is that we are children of the soil as well. And for the man who do have versus the man that do have, laws are supposed to be the same. Opportunities are supposed to be the same. The hope is supposed to be the same. The betterment is supposed to be the same for everyone. That is the agenda and mission of the Progressive Empowerment Party. And Trinidad and Tobagonians, you have to recognize that, and you have to make the decision for that change.
Anthony, well
Indeed.
said. Well said. If we cannot be, if we continue with the division, we cannot be a complete nation. And that is
Correct.
what the citizens need to realize. Well said. You touched me there. You touched me. Well said.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. And I mean, we still have room for at least one or two more calls. So if you want to call in, please, this is your time. This is your opportunity. 769-4590. I'm seeing some people say that the poll button is not working. So, Master Control, I guess, Mr. Sati Shramsran will probably be checking that out. It's a really good poll question. So I would love to hear your responses on that. We had this table to discuss this morning, and I was gonna leave it alone, but particularly with everything that we discussed today with the calls that we got. I mean, we discussed in length the the whole issue of people not receiving their salary grants yet. So many people right now in Trinidad and Tobago, they don't know how they're paying their rent. They don't know how they're paying their bills. This young woman expressed the fact that, she can't even buy sanitary napkins for herself, which, I mean, when you consider everything that is happening, these are issues that some people may overlook, but it's a reality for many people who cannot simply cannot afford right now. And I was listening to that report that we spent $1 million preparing the UE facility down in Davie, and another $1 million preparing the national was it a cycling facility. And I mean, money is pelting out in all kinds of places except where it is needed the most. Firstly, it is preposterous that we spent $1 million to prepare a facility where 50 beds were already donated. So that's something that we didn't have to pay for. What did we spend $1 million on? Seriously, people, what did we spend $1 million on? And this is to quarantine people. How many people are we quarantining right now, seeing as this disease is clearly on the decline? Why do we are continuing to spend money on frivolous things while the people who actually need it are not getting? And for all the callers to call this morning and pointing out everything that is wrong with this country, that is part of it. I see we're reopening public construction this on when Thursday instead of next week,
Thursday.
as previously stated, and I am concerned about that because we all know that construction and the construction sector in this country is where money tends to go and be siphoned and ballooned in terms of contracts. And it upsets me because it is upsetting when I have to compare the two situations. When I have to compare the Trinidad that people are leaving behind to go and find a better life outside. Michelle, you're talking about service commission. I would have applied for the public service commission. Today I'm 32 years of age. When I would have left university, I left university, when I left after A levels, CAPE examination, I was 19 years old. That is well over 10 years ago. 10 what? 12, 13 years ago. 13 years ago that I would have applied for, service commission. Never heard anything. And the minister under the Ministry of Finance had the gall to say, Miss West had the gall to say that the Public Service Commission is operating at 50%. They have 50% vacancies, and something I can never understand. The government always has vacancies, but they're hiring nobody. I
Exactly,
wonder why
Felicia.
people.
Exactly, and we continue to put the wrong persons in the positions that we have. I came here with 25 years cruise line experience, 20 plus years in senior management, and I never heard from the Ministry of Tourism, which was my goal to come to work to make Trinidad a viable tourist option, having that experience, having traveled to 99%, and I never even heard a receipt of a thank you for your application. So this is the dysfunctionality we continue within this country. We don't have the right people in the right positions. We are not really actively recruiting, as you indicated. We have positions open, but we are not active. We continue to operate at dysfunctionality, and we should just be so ashamed of ourselves what we continue to do as a nation instead of trying to make the country better, instead of trying to make these ministries better. We continue to just be at the minimalist behavior in terms of what the citizen should expect.
Well said.
Indeed. We have just about 5 minutes left in the program. I can squeeze in one more call if you do want to call in, but at this time, we'd look to wrap up the discussion for the day. This was the weekend wrap up, and we discussed everything from Mr. Lee Hunt's surprise resignation. We asked the poll question whether you believe the PNM is. How did we phrase that question? Do you believe that the PNM is falling apart? I'm so sorry that we. Oh yes, we have poll results. I'm not ready to read them yet. So if you can't vote, Please do try to get your vote in these last couple of minutes. We discussed everything down to the salary leave, Stuart Young and his resignation. Michelle, Anthony, I'm going to send you that link to sign. Please sign that petition. If I could, Satish, if you could post that petition on the live video, post it because I want as many people signing that as possible. I think it is unacceptable for a Minister of National Security to put this country in such a precarious position. It is unacceptable that he does not want to accept accountability for his actions, and it is unacceptable that he continues to lie to the public, continues to take us for fools, continues to try to get us to believe that this meeting was anything but a covert meeting of heads that we know we're not supposed to be interacting with as a signatory to the Rio Treaty. And we here in the Progressive Empowerment Party, you, the public who would have voted in the poll last week, agree that Stuart Young should resign. And if it's one thing that I would continue to pong on, it's that because, like I say, unacceptable for a minister to be lying to the public like that. Anything else from you guys before we begin to wrap up the program?
Well, the caller said something that resonated with me. You know, what are we continue to be afraid as citizens, and I agree with her. We stay in that state of being afraid. And what are we afraid of is what we need to start asking the questions. Are we afraid of change? Are we afraid of betterment? Are we afraid of what could be? Why are we afraid? What is holding us back? And it is the division that exists in the country. The Progressive Empowerment Party is bringing you the answers. We are bringing you the solutions. We are asking the relevant questions for all of us, not for a select few. We're asking the questions that you should be extremely concerned of. So continue to follow us, continue to listen to us, and continue to believe and stop being afraid that you, as the citizens, do deserve better. Thank you.
Indeed.
Well said.
Anthony, just 3 minutes. Okay, I'm giving you 2 minutes because I need the last minute to read the results and a new segment that I want to add to the day, which is a nice inspirational quote to end the day. So take your 2 minutes to do your final rant to the public. They love when you rant, apparently.
Well, it's not so much of me ranting, it's just as a regular citizen, because my standpoint is of a citizen, because I am, and I know what my brothers and sisters on the ground is dealing with. I've seen it firsthand, and I am also proud to be one to be a tool to usher change in, to implement myself in trying to bring change for everyone in Trinidad and Tobago. And at the end of the day, Trinidad and Tobago, the final decision is yours. I can't emphasize that enough. Again, I am not insisting for you to vote PP straight off the bat. Do your homework. Find out about our policies. Find out how it's going to work and know what it's going to do in bringing betterment for you, a citizen of the soil, a national of Trinidad and Tobago, for yourself, for your family, for the generations to come. And compare that to everyone else, to the UNC, to the PNM, to COP, to everybody that's on the ground that is asking for your vote. Allow common sense to prevail. That's all I would say to you right now, Trinidad, because again, the power is in your hand. Or should I say, finger? Yeah?
Finger.
So, anyway, Trinidad and Tobago, you have a wonderful day. And again, save TNT, vote PP.
All right, Trinidad and Tobago, it has been an absolutely amazing show for me. Like I said, this is my birthday show, so I am very happy, Michelle and Anthony, that you could join me on this particular episode. I have what I was going to have some bad news for you, which is that I was not going to be on the program tomorrow, but you know what? I think I will be. I was going to take a break. I had asked the media team if I could have taken one day off as their birthday present to me, but I love the show too much to be really honest with you. So I think I will be back here in the morning again with another episode of Pep Talks in the Morning. And we asked the poll question, do you believe this PNM government is falling apart? 83% of you said yes, 17% of you said no. Those are the results straight from the viewers. We had well over 100 and close to 150 people voting on this live video. Thank you for your answers. And I would end the day with this nice inspirational quote that I found. Today is not just another day, it's a new opportunity, another chance, a new beginning. Embrace it. Look out for more inspirational quotes like that, which I will be adding to the program. Have a wonderful day. I will be back tomorrow. And remember, during this period of self isolation and social distancing, let's stay together by staying apart. Bye bye.
Bye, Trinidad.